All right, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 87. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Omezis.
Yeah, I think I'm a forewarn the people. This might be one of the shorter episodes because, like, I would apologize for anybody, the one or two people out there that probably do like have something like this in the background for a long time. I actually got to keep it short a little bit because of some real life stuff I got going on, and I gotta get up in the morning. But we got some cool content for this week. It actually wasn't too much big news that was going on in the gaming world that's like notable stuff as far as like the big three. But I guess, there was some news here and there and we could talk about it. This is going to probably be 90% your podcast. Funny enough, majority of this footage I think is all your footage, but there's like one extra game here that I think I put in here. Like this is your Remnant 2 footage.
Yeah.
It isn't mine. But I think
to talk about really quick. This is one
sure.
of my favorite boss fights
Okay.
because it was so hectic. It's the electric staircase where it was just out of nowhere. It was just like pull the switch, and I pulled it, and then all of a sudden, just things are coming out of the wall, and you got to make it downstairs before the middle part catches up to you because the floors are just getting electrified
Yeah.
as you go through. It took us a while to kind of a little bit to figure out exactly how to pass it, but yeah, it was good.
I remember the game did have a lot of unique things like boss fights and stuff. Like I think this would be considered a boss fight in a way. Unique, like they took the formula and really changed things up where it wasn't the same thing as like your typical Souls game. Here's a big dude that's gonna like knock your health down in half every single time. It's like every now and then they had something else like the other maze where it's just like that cube thing.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of things. Go ahead.
I will say though too, for this one, what I liked is because it didn't really explain what you had to do. You just pulled the lever, and all of a sudden everything just started getting electrocuted and slowly down. And you just had to know to run. Like they didn't say anything. It didn't say anything about clearing out the middle. Like you just had to just figure it out.
Yeah, I remember just kind of trying, but not really knowing what was going on. I think you were the one that finished this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. I like I said before, I didn't have too much footage that was prepared, so I actually like last minute pulled footage that I had that was on the computer already. Footage that's early for a game that I didn't want to preview yet, but it's really one of the like older classic Xbox games. I think it's Quantum Break that's going to show up later. But
okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to show it until I finished the Alan Wake footage altogether, but I ran out of time and was not prepared, so it's gonna get thrown in rotation, I guess, a little early. But I didn't finish the game yet, so that's why I didn't want to show it. Also, plus just some continuity, as far as like what we've been showing.
Yeah.
But I guess real quick we could probably, it don't have to be too long. We could just keep it real brief, but not really. Is it gaming related? Not really gaming related, but there's been plenty of Dragon Ball Z games. But R.I.P to the creator.
Yeah. Right after we were done recording,
yeah,
last week, it was like as soon as we finished recording, we just opened up Twitter and you're like, "Yo, Akira Toriyama passed." And it was just like, oh
yeah. I think we would say it was breaking news or something like while just playing the game. I think, or maybe it was either then or when we was recording. But yeah,
it was Thursday. It was right after.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I've seen plenty of people like who are really good with like animation, I guess, and artwork and stuff, where it almost looks like it's the real thing, where people was like carrying caskets and stuff with the balls on top of it, like a whole bunch of stuff. Like cool art. So cool for the people, I guess. To really appreciate like the anime. It was like, of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff once you become an anime fan. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but this was like the true transcendent
Yeah.
like anime.
The one that got a lot of people in, whether however you feel about it after watching more animes.
Yeah,
This was like the beginning for a lot of people. Like this was even people who didn't like.
I think you may have broke up a little bit, but
So
yeah,
people know Super Saiyan. People know this stuff. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, shout out to him. Shout out to Dragon Ball as a franchise. I really don't think it's gonna die at all. I
Oh
think
no.
it's like it seemed like even when they were trying to have it slow down, it just wouldn't. And I don't think all the voice actors are still here, and there's enough.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the series might, if somebody might try to experiment, but I don't know if it's gonna
I don't
actually
think so. I feel like he
go.
had enough trusted people working with him
Yeah,
that they will keep it the same way. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he already had like legit like stories like forever on like these are ideas to hit. Um
right. But you know, I think it was still an awesome series for the longest time. I mean, the longest time. That might have been the one series where it seemed like you just went through your entire life
yep.
and like it grew with you, but it was like it was over, but it wasn't over. Like you just kept watching. You still keep playing the games. I still keep playing the games. I definitely still keep buying them. I'm
I'm still
pretty
waiting
sure.
for the next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Guardian
like
Zero.
there's still gonna be more games that's gonna get made even after that one. So yeah, the legacy is still gonna live on no matter what. Um, you know what? I don't know if this would be a nice transition.
Well, it's too late now.
Uh, speaking of things being over, what's going on with Twitch in South Korea? It's not gaming at
Wow.
all. I don't know. Was that a
Wow.
bad transition? I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening. That's a terrible
Anyway,
transition. We off the game
uh,
today. That's cool.
so as we don't say we.
Don't say we. It was me. I'm definitely off the game. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying. I'm putting together something just because. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So as we mentioned before, Twitch in South Korea, right?
Yeah.
So they were helping them move on to like new platforms and stuff, and they also sent a parting gift, according to Dextero, and like some of the Twitch streamers showing it. And they gifted them a calendar from 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you feel if you as a Twitch streamer, they decided they were gonna leave like your country, like you
It's a
can't
trophy.
stream anymore, and they're like, here's a trophy, 2 year or here's like a calendar for 2 years.
Hey, I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of silly. Some of them should be able to come back on maybe Kick or something.
Yeah,
But what's funny is I think from what I've been reading, this is supposed to be a gaming podcast. It's so crazy.
I'm talking about
I
TikTok.
guess TikTok is yeah. I was just gonna say like I think it's the same thing might happen to them.
TikTok is
Um,
getting banned here. Uh,
yeah, I think maybe it might be completely banned by the summertime. I don't know how long it's gonna take them to do it.
the only way they can get around the ban is if the company sells away from China. So the company that runs it is owned by China. So they would have to like China would basically have to sell it to like a not China company
But
to
why
run
would
it.
they
And
do
then
that just to like I don't know like from their point of
like
view?
I think there's a huge amount of from the U.S. So whatever money they would get, I think they would lose a significant amount of people. Like their
Uh,
traffic, I think, is heavy from the U.S. But now the U.S. is like,
but
because
it
China
sounds like a Vince McMahon thing though. It's like, well, I don't see it. You try to tell me I'm not gonna see anything regardless. So why would I care? And I would just do this kind of
You're
thing.
right. You're right. I think it's
That's what it
more. I don't
sounds.
know like how that works, but I think it's more the company has to like leave their like somehow get out of their contract of China owners. I don't know.
Yeah.
They might take it.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But all right, gaming news. I guess we can probably I'll throw one out there for myself. I guess. Speaking of passing away, these are terrible transitions.
Yeah,
I'm
they
like
are.
canceled for these transitions because this is even worse though. Because I was about to say like the PlayStation Studio Deviation games, I guess, had closed down.
Oh yeah.
terrible transition.
So they had the company that like was it like they didn't even release a game yet?
Yeah, it was a weird situation where we have been hearing about all the gaming like layoffs and stuff from everybody, but yeah, it's another studio because I think before, I believe it was called London Studios. I think that's what it was called. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. From PlayStation, um, earlier last month or something. Like we heard about that studio closing down when they did a bunch of layoffs, which was like around just under 2,000 if I'm not mistaken, like 1,700 or something. And it was like across all the companies, including Insomniac, and I think that was where people was like, that's kind of ironic because they were the ones who was putting out games and have games that's still
Yep.
set to come out. Um, which might lead into the other thing. We could probably just combine that whole thing because that was just an announcement. I don't know, but we could probably talk about the other part of it if you want. Go ahead.
So a trailer dropped that was like leaked of a
Hmm.
canceled live service game for Spider-Man, called Spider-Man something with the webs like uh
Yeah.
Spider-Man of the Great Web, where it looked like it was an up to 5 player Spider-Man game where it looks like you kind of customize your own Spider-Man and you're
Hmm.
fighting the Sinister Stick, multiple dimensions, which I think would have been a great multiplayer single story game that you could play solo or with others. Live service game, but it's one of the other live service games that got canceled. It seems like it's crazy that they keep pushing for like we want a live service future, but like they keep canceling their live service games before even dropping them because they realize they're not going to be good. And it's like, then why push for a live service thing? Like you would have had another banger that because you tried to make it live service is bad.
Yeah, I think you cut out for a split second. We caught it, but I guess they robot you a little bit. That's all right though.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, the live service thing is it's funny because certain games are still thriving that has it, but I guess the new ones are just not gonna do it. It's just not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna be gone completely. I think companies are still gonna try it, even if it tanks them, just because they
oh,
think
look
like,
at Warner Bros.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, that transitions into another topic of mine. So
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Doubled down on the stuff, the whole rant. Well, a petition started to save Hogwarts Legacy 2 becoming live service
Right, right.
because they hinted that it could be because they don't see the value of single player. Again, even though Hogwarts was the highest selling video game and all of the live service games that they keep making fail, they don't see, you know, the potential of a single player game. So they change up to.
That seems a little silly though to me because like that particular game, it seems like everybody's still attempting to quote unquote ignore it. Like it's still like it never happened almost. Like ignored success and everything, but
I've ignored people who ignored it. Like everybody else who talks about it, it's fine. But yeah,
yeah, it just
they're
seems.
over here like you won't get another Hogwarts like success. That's not guaranteed. But live service is the way to go. And I'm like, Suicide Squad is already half off. Like, and no one's playing it. Like right now, like your live service game is half off. Uh,
Yeah,
and
that
like you
particular
don't have a good
game
track record
just came out and it's really not hitting the numbers that I guess they would want to hit.
at all.
Um, it's another thing when it just comes to just like the timing and stuff. Like that game probably should have come out a year ago, and maybe it would have been better.
Nope, it
Um,
wouldn't have been. You could tell it wouldn't have been because right before they pushed it back a year, they dropped the trailer of what it was going to be, and everybody already said nope to it. Then, like the main people who got it decided not to look at any trailer and was like, "I'm just going to go in and I want to play it because it's Suicide Squad."
all right.
So, nope, it wouldn't have done better.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I think we probably could move on from it. But I'm looking at the list. This actually might go by very quickly. It might actually go by quickly. Let's dive into a bigger ish topic that is a little bit more gaming, because I think I may have set it off a little bit wrong because I'm like, I ain't trying to get canceled out here, but I'm like, speaking to people who's like passing away, it's like, no, let's not do it like that. But yeah, bigger topic. I see you trying to go at Atlas a little sideways.
Yep.
You really trying to get canceled out here. I don't know. I might have to. I might have to disagree with what you got to say, but we'll have to see.
Okay.
What's happening out here, man. What you got to say about Atlas? Oh
So
man,
first they released Persona 3 Reload,
yeah.
and it didn't have the Persona 3 Portable or any of the expansions. So they decided, because people wanted it, they were going to release it as a DLC.
All right.
They're promising people who paid for the like $100 full version, anything like that, that this was not planned DLC. Like, you know, because they don't get it automatically. They're like, I thought you said we're buying the full thing, and now you're saying there's. And they're saying, well, this was not cut content. Like, this is purely being added in after the fact. However, it costs $35 for it, which is half of the price of the game itself. That's where I have an issue. So, and when it comes out, apparently it's 3 parts, even though none of it was planned. The first part is like music and costumes. The second part, I think, is more music and costumes. And then the third part actually has some other missions and stuff. But in order to get it, you have to pay $35.
Yeah.
You're paying half of the price of the game, even though you were told you were buying the full game, and now you have to pay half of the price in addition to get the rest of the game that they just now decided to put in. And really, you're paying $35 for some music. For Persona 5 music. It's not even Persona 3 stuff. You're paying $35 for Persona 5 and Persona 4 music to hear while you're walking around Mementos. And this later story mission that wasn't originally included. That feels so money grabby to me, and I feel like they're really pushing on like how much people like Persona 5 to start trying to overcharge everybody. I already thought it was weird that they decided to re-release Persona 3 Portable, and then like less than a year later do a remake of the same thing. That felt off to me already, and now this feels even worse.
I just kind of feel like I might push back on it a little bit when it comes to Atlas, because I feel like their fan base is conditioned for this type of thing, and they don't buy this version. They buy the like royal or golden-ish version where it kind of comes with the whole thing on disc, because that's kind of what I was waiting for a little bit.
But that was the issue. They were told Persona 3 Reload was the full thing. That was what was promised, is that this is the full, complete edition, and then a couple months later going, well, actually, we got some more. But you got to buy it for half, like, pay half the price again to buy it. Like, that feels, I mean, you can disagree, but again, that feels very...
Yeah, I can see it, though.
It feels like, I don't know, when I'm over here looking at every other big company, like, do this shady crap, that just to me feels shady as well. And I feel like people are going to give it a pass because of how great the other games are. But I feel like, no, you don't get the pass. Like, it's not going to stop me from buying their games. I don't think it's shady enough that they need to be boycotted. But I feel like that is a little money grabby.
I would say, for one, though, I do, like, I saw that, but they did have like an option out there for a particular player. I have to say, shout out to Xbox, I guess, on this, because that extra DLC was included along with the regular game in Game Pass. Apparently, it looks like if you went that route, once the updates come around, you just get it. From the best of my knowledge, from what I saw, so there's some options out there they do have where it's like, well, you don't have to take the full blunt of it. It wasn't. It's DLC that's not going to be on disc, at least right now. So for everybody else, it was kind of content that you weren't going to get on the physical copy just yet. I don't know. I felt like I in my head I was thinking there's a golden or there might be a royal or something like that, because they kind of just did that with what is the game? Shimigami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Like Vengeance is their royal or golden and stuff, where they kind of just did the same thing where like before, I think the Tensei 5 game was like, this is the game, and then they kind of just like rolled it back 1 year later. I feel like I don't know, I just feel like Atlas does this and people who play those games are used to it. But
but I also think $35 is too much for a deal.
Yeah,
Especially when most of it is music.
Yeah, it did look a little odd that they was like, this is like a 3-part thing, and then the last part is the one where it's like the actual like extra story content, I guess.
Yep. And I would feel a little bit better if like anyone who, whether you're Game Pass or not, if you bought it through Xbox, you get access to this DLC that everybody's paying for. I would actually feel even better about that, because then it's just similar to PlayStation where they get stuff.
It looked like it's strictly like a Game Pass thing. I don't think like the people who bought the actual base game either. Whoever just had access to Game Pass, they just got this particular game's content fully day one.
So I guess if it was announced as like free on Game Pass and then later everybody else can buy it, like if it was announced kind of that way as opposed to just sounding like them overpricing for DLC. I
don't think they can say the term free though. It's technically not free. It's just
free on Game Pass is the same way of saying free on PlayStation Plus. You're still paying for PlayStation.
Yeah, it's day and date on there though, at least. So
yeah, and I feel like if it was treated as like this is an Xbox deal sort of thing, as opposed to, well, it just works out for Xbox. I don't know.
It works out for them just because they get it's just because that, like, everything on Atlas right now is going to them. They worked out some sort of deal. Yeah, but I guess because at the same time, the person who might want the physical copy, you don't get this DLC content on disc right now either. But like they didn't print them like that. They just printed it with the base game basically. So, but yeah, it's still a lot. It's still a lot for a game yeah, go ahead.
I will push back on something else you said though. Where you're trying to say that this is just something that Atlas fans are used to. In that same tone, you have complained about poker.
Like looks like it sounds like I cut your mic. Go ahead. Say it again. It sounds like you cut out again.
I said it. This is very similar to your argument against Pokemon doing things that Pokemon fans used to, like splitting Pokemon against 2 games, and things like that. Like you have said that was bad, even though it is a Pokemon thing, and now you're saying, well, this
Pokemon's
is okay.
way worse though. I could really push back on that. Pokemon way worse. Like there is no remake like not no reloaded version. You getting straight Dreamcast quality games here.
Okay,
you're not getting no reloaded though. You gonna get only like, even with this one, actually, yeah, with this one, you only get the portable version from the PSP Vita time. You don't even get reloaded on the Switch version, and everybody just kind of takes it and smiles, and they will absolutely play.
That's not the point I was making. The point I'm making is that you're saying that it's okay if Atlas is kind of doing something considered crummy because Atlas fans are used to it. But you've pushed against Pokemon doing something crummy, even though Pokemon fans are used
Well, yeah, like here's the difference though. Pokemon is giving you exact copies of the same thing twice with like only one NPC in there basically being in another game. Like it's kind of like a skin almost because they really like you would find them relatively in the same spot of the story, right? And then they're in the same like
to. Yeah,
power
I know.
level, right? And then it's like it's not really like you're getting content to me. I don't feel like you're getting content. You're getting literally a duplicate of the same game where they just reskinned one guy. Like one guy from what I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like if there's a sprinkling of Pokemon throughout it, where it's like here's a roster, here's a Raw and a SmackDown roster, that's one thing.
It's not a roster. It's usually like
It's
6 or 7 Pokemon that are different between them.
but yeah, if it's like that and it's like that to me, like I ain't gonna say it's unacceptable. It's obviously acceptable to a certain crowd, but um that's like that to me is a little bit different because it's not really. Plus the content, like when we say DLC content, I think Pokemon still puts out the DLC content that's
Oh yeah, they
still
still got
fair
DLC.
game on both of them,
Yeah,
right?
yep, they
It's
still got
still
DLC.
it's kind of pricey as well, I guess. But
Oh, it is. It is, and I disagree with their prices too.
yeah, but I just don't think that they're like the difference would be like if somehow some way we plucked in a character from Royal as well, right? And we threw Joker into this game, and said let's change the cover from like blue to red, and then he's just in the game
Yeah,
somewhere, and then it's full price on both. That's what Pokemon does
I guess it's fair. The full
basically.
price part is bad for sure.
Um, but it ain't just the full price to me. Like I guess if we was to go there, it's like Pokemon. The part that I would question the most was also the situation that just recently happened with them with Scarlet and Violet, I think it was.
Yeah,
Where see like with this game Atlas, like yeah, they charged for this DLC. They kind of did the same thing with that Cyberpunk game as well, right? They had that DLC that kind of reintroduced the game again, where they're trying to like, oh, we forget about what happened like two
yeah.
years ago,
I still
but
think that's also
um,
too expensive.
at least here with Persona 3 Reloaded, I didn't see a bunch of crashes. I didn't see a bunch of like 20
True. Well,
frame rates
also,
and
all your arguments are targeted directly towards Scarlet and Violet. Like Sword and Shield did the same stuff, and it wasn't as bad, uh, crash wise and stuff.
yeah. But hey, man, like
But
I
still, overall, I just think a lot of this stuff is too expensive.
yeah yeah. Um, but I gotta admit the difference here with Atlas partnering with Game Pass, they provided a solution through the service. Is there a solution on Nintendo's expansion pack where
No,
you ain't gotta pay that extra?
of course not. Of course not.
Hey, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta give the W to Atlas on that. There's a solution there. I don't know. At least with Pokemon, we gotta sit out here and shut down like all types of emulations and all this other stuff. They not providing a cheaper solution as an alternative. That's the key difference. I would have to
Eh,
say.
I don't
Um,
feel like there's a big enough difference to get over the fact that they're still doing something crummy. But that's just me. That's how I feel.
nah, it's cool. That's good discourse. I like it. That's what's up. Um, I guess we can go to the not so much Pokemon, but I guess you put something here for Digimon. You wanna
Oh yeah,
speak on
they
it?
also doing something kind of crummy. So
This is
they
crummy.
ju-
All right.
yeah, Digimon
I
just had
thought it
like
was gonna be a positive, but all right, go ahead.
no, oh, it depends on how you look at it. So they
All
just
right.
had a anniversary event for their 25th anniversary,
Okay.
and they're re-releasing. Remember that old Digivice Tamagotchi?
Yeah, I
Did
remember
you
I
get?
had one.
They're
Yeah,
re-releasing those, but in full color now.
in full color.
Yep. So the whole little screen has full
Hey,
color and everything.
you still gotta
Oh,
shake it instead of walking, unless you just want to walk.
unless you just want to. But you can get
Hey,
those. They cost $100.
$100.
Yeah, that was where it feels crummy. They're like
Oh
a
man.
hundred to 100 plus. One website that I'm looking at right now, they have it for 95, but it's completely out of stock. A lot of other places I saw was,
And this is
uh,
another thing that's definitely not gonna just be in stores. So it's
nope,
just
it's purely online. And of
yeah.
course, it's a little small Digivice. You get one Digi-Egg, you got your one Digimon. You can interact with others, but I don't know if you have to be like with somebody else who has a Digivice, because I feel like you just not gonna see somebody, or if it's just within the Digivice game itself. Uh,
I
but
think
yeah, if you
it.
got 120, you can get one. Most of them are sold out already. It's
Yeah,
on pre-order.
because they probably only did like 1,000 of these or something. I think the smartest thing that they probably could have done,
Uh huh.
is turned it into an app, and then people could have just downloaded it on their phone,
That would have been cool.
and you would have opened it up to a lot more people, and probably
Yeah.
got like, some of that, maybe microtransactions. It would have had to been microtransactions, but some of the money would have came that way. It would have been fully software where you wouldn't have to worry about hardware costs and stuff. But it sounded like it probably would have been just a quick cash grab, and they wasn't thinking too far into it. That's what it sounds like to me. And they would have made the money they was looking for if they only did it online, because they wouldn't make that many, and then it will sell out just like what you said, and you'll
Yep.
get the occasional scalper or something. Ain't no way I'm gonna pay some scalper like 150, 170 for this. I would just go get the play date at that point.
Yep.
You can't even do nothing with this. It's only like it's only like one Pokemon in there. Like even when it transforms, like if they had it set up like on some like smartwatch type thing where it's fully animated or something, where you could see the transformation of your character or whatever it is.
You
That's one
can
thing.
on the device.
Say it
You
again.
can all of it's on there. Like, well, it'll do the like 8-bit version, I guess, where it's, you see
Yeah, that's what
everything
I mean. It's just gonna be like an
4K
8-bit.
out. Like,
Like if it
yeah.
had like a full resolution, like if you had a smartwatch where
Uh,
you can see the detail and see the mega levels and all of that. That's one thing, but some little like Mr. Game and Watch type device and stuff, I'm
oh
not
no,
paying
it
that
looks
type
better
of
than
money.
that. It is higher resolution than that. It's not $100 worth of resolution, but it is higher resolution. It looks like almost like maybe PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 ish
Mm,
graphics, but
well,
yeah.
for anybody watching, the game on the screen is Quantum Break. Older game, Xbox title. The beginning of this is very cutscene heavy. It looked really good for its time though, if you really think about it. But
Yeah.
that's on the screen. I don't know if I got too much of an impressions I can say about it. It's just more a lot of cutscenes, and then you got your shooter type game with some powers here and there. I didn't unlock everything, but there's enough there in the beginning that says this is a game that you're gonna want to finish if you start it.
Okay.
But
The
I do
actor you play as,
say it
uh,
again.
the actor you play as, is one of the Ashmores. Which one? But
Mm-hmm.
is Sean and Aaron Ashmore. One of them played Iceman in the original X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was Jimmy Olsen in Smallville. Uh, amongst
Yeah, I
other things.
recognize a few people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
don't usually get.
Um,
But yep,
Clearly that one dude is the Game of Thrones guy. I think everybody remembers him the most from there.
the ears.
Um, the what? Say it again.
The one with the big ears.
Yeah, I guess he was like the counselor dude who was doing all types of like
Yeah,
little things here and there to make people like mad at each other. you know.
Yeah.
He was basically like in modern days like the gossiper type dude who just like starts stuff. But like in here he's like I guess like a main character. But yeah. I guess I can move forward to the halfway point. It might actually be 2/3 in depending on how we do this. Because I think we're gonna wrap this up a little bit quicker, but basically that's where I do the unofficial sponsor thing where I talk about Epic Games, the company that hasn't cut me a check yet, even though they got all that Fortnite money, but I be, you know, promoting some of their free stuff. We like free stuff. Nothing there. I don't think I've spent any money over there that was anywhere near the level of some of these high end DLCs. Majority of the stuff was all super discounted and then like, you know, basically free. So like I said, time and time again, you don't need to create, or you do need to create a profile, but you don't need to add like any type of payment information to it. You just need to go into your profile and claim the games. And if you don't have a PC, once you do get one of any kind, and log in, you'll have all the games there for you to play. So this week was one of the bigger weeks where they had a classic Deus Ex Mankind Divided. One of the games you can get right now is available from this recording right now until March 21st. And that's the same thing goes for the game called The Bridge. You have until the 21st to claim those two games. And then it looks like they're going to give you 2 more games next week instead of just one. And one of them is called Call of the Wild, The Angler, I believe. And then Invincible presents Autumn Eve, which I think that's a female superhero. I don't know what the game is about, but that's what it looked like to me. And then those 2 games will be available the 21st to the 28th. And yeah, man, they just giving out a lot of free games. As far as sales, I didn't really buy anything too much. I bought a game that I literally put away that I actually had that was an indie game. I bought a physical version of it. I don't know the name of it. I don't think I'm gonna get up and go get it. Maybe I'll tell y'all about it next week because it was like $20. But I think I'm still in the camp of just check your local retailers as far as like the physical media being like taken out of the retailers. They're heavily discounting stuff, so just check over there as far as sales. Anything you want to add to that as far as sales or anything? Did you buy anything this week?
Nope. I ain't got nothing to add.
I know at least on the Nintendo side, there is I guess you could say big game coming out this month for them, which I believe is the Princess Peach game. She gets her full price game or $60, I guess, for her game where she plays all types of characters that you haven't really seen Peach do before. They get real creative with this. They just really add to her personality, I guess. I think that game comes out at the end of March for Nintendo, for anybody to look out that. But interesting enough, there was some interesting news that was a head scratcher to me that came out. I guess Sea of Thieves. This is a interesting thing because I questioned, I guess, Pentiment a little bit for games that was Xbox games going on other platforms, but apparently Sea of Thieves was like one of the highest like bought pre-orders or something on PlayStation at one point, to the point where it basically dethroned the release of Final Fantasy Rebirth, I guess, which is kind of strange to me, but the console war people took this and ran with it. But basically more people wanted to buy Sea of Thieves instead of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Interesting.
This is and it was like I guess I guess they would say it's the most pre-order game for the month. But yeah, so I guess so if y'all out here really trying to play these games and playing Pentiment, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'm very happy that more people are playing some of these games. I wish it was Pentiment so I could really just like say a bunch of stuff. But it ended up being Sea of Thieves. Out of the four, Sea of Thieves is the game that's shining right now, I guess. So yeah, it is what it is. Final Fantasy VII, I'm pretty sure still a great game for people who are playing it. But yeah, from that player base, you're gonna have to hold this L. I don't know how y'all at Sea of Thieves outshine that game. That was supposed to be the release. I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. But yeah, I guess we can switch from one sea to the next. Tell me about Sea of Stars.
So Sea of Stars now has 5 million players, I believe, officially, and like 5 million people have played the game. And to celebrate, they're introducing some couch co-op stuff for some reason. But now they're going to be doing 3-player couch co-op.
That looked like the game that's the old school game where you get a bunch of people together. Yeah. If people still do it that way. Shout out to them on it will be a niche group, but that looks like the type of game that people probably would do that if they had a time. So shout out to
anybody who was a fan of. I know they said that they were supposed to, like their inspiration was Trigger. So anybody who's a fan of like the old like JRP, this one does something. I saw somebody talking about it, and the good example that a lot of games will sort of old graphics is like a crutch sort of thing to like not have to like expand. Where for theirs, like you could tell it was definitely a style choice because everything is still extremely. It's just in that old school design. So, they're getting a 3-player co-op mode.
Sea of Stars is I think it's 2 games that I want to play, but not really like I gotta play immediately. That are like niches that I'm not really that is not like in my active rotation. It was Sea of Stars and I think Star Ocean: The Second Story R, I believe. I think that's what it's called. Those 2 games were the 2.
Well, I haven't played Star Ocean, but I have beaten Sea of Stars, so like 100, I did that.
Yeah, those 2 were like somewhat out of my niche a little bit, but I was going to look into like playing those games. So I'm excited to get around to it eventually. I guess I can mention. It looks like you had one other thing here before I get to my other thing. A game that I don't want to say refuse to play, but a game that I conveniently skip every year. WWE 2K24. So you telling me the old school ECW legend, Sabu, is he's still alive? He's still alive and ticking. I don't hear too much about him anymore.
Yeah,
but okay,
he's still alive.
All right, shout out to
somebody made create a wrestler of Sabu that looked exactly like Sabu.
Okay.
And Sabu decided to reply and was like, "You need to send this Sabu to the gym and a tailor because that sucks." Is how he put it. So every single person commented was like, "Sabu, do you own a mirror? Like, or do you have any of the tapes from when you was wrestling? Because homie, this look exactly like you. Like, yeah, you was not ripped like that. Like, this looks exactly like you." So decided to make another version that was a little more ripped and jacked, and he was like, "That's cool, but the pants." So he's still mad at the pants baggy and everything. He's just hating. And it was like, when I saw it, it was like the first version looks like him, and the second one looks like the video game version where they make everyone more ripped. But that first one looked exactly like Sabu, and he's just out here hating.
Shout out to Sabu. Sabu was one of those characters that I used to do creative characters on him when I was playing the SmackDown series back in the day. I think the latest one that I did with him in it was probably like 06 or 07. SmackDown versus Raw.
The first game he was in was 2008 because they introduced that
Yeah.
version, and people even said the last wrestling game you was in was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Be happy that people are even still thinking about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like he was out
dude,
here
dude,
complaining
old.
about this dude.
Yeah, shout out to him. I think at least from the WWE side, he had a cool match with John Cena when John Cena was doing his like ECW evasion kind of thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty good. Definitely some cool hardcore stuff from the past. It's just kind of funny because he's somebody who I don't think would translate with this crowd at all. I don't
dude.
think he would. I don't think he's built for this group. But at the same time, it's past his time anyway. And I think he still was all right. But he kind of reminds me of like a little bit more like extreme, no pun intended, like Alberto Del Rio in a way when it comes to like the personality of what probably today's wrestling is not wanting.
Uh,
That's what I would see him as. But yeah. Shout out to him. I guess the last thing I could say before we actually just wrap it up. It was content that I don't think I had all my information on at first. I just was reacting to this, but it still is a big deal to me a little bit. The MetaQuest. So I saw where they were saying the MetaQuest, if you have the MetaQuest, you have until the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken, to change your account from the Oculus account to a Meta account or a Facebook account, or I don't know.
yeah.
Do you know more about this? Or because to me,
So
when I saw it, I kind
yeah.
of got a little bit mad. I ain't gonna hold you up.
So it was about 2 years ago. The Meta bought Oculus.
Yes.
Yo, all right, if you're gonna do this, you gotta have a Meta account. We ain't looking at these Oculus accounts. We own this, get one account. They didn't right away shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave people time to transition, and then at this month they're like, all right, this is it. Like we're gonna be shutting off the Meta thing because we're not paying to stuff. So switch over to ours, or you're gonna lose all your stuff.
Yeah. Here's my issue with it though. Like, you basically telling a bunch of people all of a sudden that we just gonna like delete your library. It reminds me of like the same stuff that was going on with so many other like stories about the whole like once it's all digital you don't own anything.
Well,
It's
yeah, remember Sony did the whole thing with like all of your reality shows was about to get deleted if you bought them because we lost the contract.
yes, it's worse here to me because it's like direct games, but at the same time I do see the argument somebody might make where it's just like VR kind of came out the gate where it was just like 100% relying on the internet. It's like the whole purpose of it is like an internet kind of thing, or virtual. It's virtual
Yeah,
reality, right? It's just the idea that all of a sudden somebody else is going to tell you you've got a certain amount of time before we just delete all your games. Because I can see the person. I think I would put myself in this category where I would have bought it, right? I bought the system, and it's funny enough, I was already like making plans to get one, and it kind of makes me actually say, well, let's stop for a second here, because I would have been the person who got it, right? Got some games on it, had a nice experience, and then kind of put it down for a little while. Because I think even a hardcore gamer, this isn't how you game, really. It's just like an experience here and there. It's more of an experience than it is like just picking up a game to just play, you know? But you most likely, or I got to speak for myself a little bit. Like, I would say for me, I would have that experience. Then I would have put it down. Real life would have been happening. And then one time I'll just pick it back up. And then all of a sudden I'm being told all my stuff is gone.
yeah.
You know, that, and
So
Yeah, that's not at that price because we're still talking some of these things like this is still in. I gotta breathe for a second. It's gonna make me mad again because we're still talking about
So
like
basically, uh, yeah, like there are people who legit like all they play is VR. I know a guy who does that. It's like if he's
mm-hmm,
racing games, but like this does fall into that issue of ownership, where
yeah,
like I don't care. Like from the business, pure business side of it, I can see going like I don't want to like I bought this company, but I don't want to pay to keep their website running. Like just switch. But in that case, it should be like an not a I have to manually switch sort of thing. And on top of that, uh, it just I don't know. It feels weird again. Like if you had put it down for a long time and then one day you just like, hey, I'm gonna bounce on this VR again, and you turn it on and you just lost all of your stuff with no way to get it back because you didn't make a Facebook. Like that seems really weird. And on top of that, there's some people who just don't want Facebook. They don't want to be on that part of social media. They don't want like there is some things that is like we get access to all your blah blah blah, and they don't want that. But then Facebook also has all of. Is this a fake account? So if you don't put enough information in, if
right,
you're not enough active, it'll think you're a bot and get rid of your account. You got to go back in and try and prove that you like exist. So like, what if you don't use your Facebook 4 years because you're not VR gaming, and all of a sudden it thinks you're a bot and deletes your account? How many people their account and everything, and then have to delete it and make a whole new account? Do you lose all your stuff? Like, I feel like the things you buy should be separate from any of that,
yeah.
right? It should just it should just be a library of things that you just own, regardless. Like, it should be connected to, like it should be an Oculus account, and it should be connected to your Oculus account in the same way. No matter what PlayStation I go on, if I log into my PlayStation account, I have access to my cloud like stored games, right? Like the things that I bought through PlayStation, I have it through PlayStation no matter where I'm at, as long as I'm on my account and everything. It shouldn't be tied to another party, I guess. Like you didn't buy the MetaQuest, you bought an Oculus, so it should be connected to Oculus.
I also feel like
So
with Meta being like practically one of the top tech companies as far as social media, right? They are a high end social media presence, right? Um, I guess Instagram is probably leading the charge, not so much Facebook, but Facebook is
yeah,
what they're known for and it's their oldest one. It's just I feel like you should be able to figure that out where it just auto does it at the very least. With
yep.
some to say something like it would just be deleted forever don't sit right with me. Like if you got the ability to port over the accounts as a meta account where the games still port over, then I feel like you should automatically do it for all the other dormant like games, like all the other dormant players period. Cause some of us, even if you said 2 years, some of us really not paying attention to that. Like you would have to really go out of your way to see the news to tell you that. You know what I mean? Cause like it would be like for example of the Playdate, for example. Like if I really bought one and bought a bunch of games and I just like literally put it in a drawer. And I didn't go back to the YouTube page or nothing. I was like, I'll just pick it up every now and then. It's like one day you pick it up, it's like something on the screen or something, or it just like it just doesn't work, and you try to figure out. You think it's broke or something, but then you just find out. Oh, they say something like, "Oh, you just don't got access to nothing anymore because we just didn't make sales or something." I'm like, yo, like how? Like I should just have access to it on my level. Like they should have it where at least there's an update on it where it's just like here's the game in a you know offline mode, maybe like you got to get online just to install it, but after that it's offline for you. um I don't know. I don't know how to address it. All I know is just that at the same time meta as meta is very high up the food chain with social media and tech, like if you ever go to other apps on your phone, a lot of them would, hiccup here and there, but somehow anything social media wise is usually running pretty smoothly. They usually got a certain amount of income coming in somehow, some way, where they're able to pay. What, if I remember correctly, they got like 20,000 employees over there. Like, they could do this on their own. They don't have to like delete those accounts. I think that that just doesn't sit right with me. Somebody out there is literally going to have that headset where they didn't keep up with this. They just bought the headset, and then you just turn it on one day and all of a sudden you're being told it's gone. But remember, VR games are still like, not everything is sold at an indie game price. I'm pretty sure there's still a nice handful of them that was $30-$40 each. Like to just all of a sudden say that's just gonna go. I don't think that sits right with me. I don't care what your time limit is. You are a high-end social media presence company. You can just port those over. Period. Like when somebody just turns theirs on, they charge it up, they turn it on. It was a seamless transition. It just ported over. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like similar to like Windows, right? Like after a while, you don't even really think about some of those Windows updates. It just simply is updated. I feel like that's what they should do. It shouldn't be like all of a sudden it's just gone if you didn't do anything. I think they have an obligation to that. It's unfortunate that kind of did happen because I was eyeballing, and what's really crazy is I was eyeballing the highest end model, which I think costs $650 for the most space, even though I clearly wasn't going to buy that many VR games at all. It's just, if I'm going to invest in it, I would like the best. That's just kind of how I feel about it. I was going, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, to further your argument, when HBO Max became Mac, right, and they partnered with Warner Bros., as long as you have your HBO, like, login, regardless of when you do it again, when you log in, it just turns to your, right? So, like, on my PlayStation, I forgot, like, because I was mainly watching off of, like, Roku. So on my PlayStation, I still had the HBO Max app. And when I clicked on it, it was like, HBO Max has been integrated to Mac. Download that in. And it was similar to, like, originally when it first switched, where there wasn't a time limit. It was just, hey, everything's been integrated, so we have your account dormant. You just log into your account, and it's been transferred over to the Max one. I'm not seeing, especially with the amount of money like Meta has, I'm not seeing why you can't do that. Whereas just as long as you have your Oculus login, like, I don't know if it's different because Warner Bros. Owned HBO and this new one that is just your Warner Bros. Account, and Oculus and Meta were different. I don't know if that's what has to do with it. But I feel like they have enough money. They should be able to just log in, like you said, where your account's dormant until the next time you log in, and then it just transfers you over. Auto.
Not to get political, shout out to Mr. Bush. I remember he had this thing he called "No Child Left Behind." Like, it just kind of reminded me of this. Like, I feel like, if anything, no headset left behind. I feel like it should be, or no Oculus left behind. However they say it. Where, I mean, obviously the stipulation is different thing, but it's just simply you turn the thing on, and at the point of you turning it on and connecting to the internet, it's automatically prompting you to go, like, set up the new website or something, but nothing's missing. It's just because anybody else, like, if you're telling people that they got to do it, then the games and stuff is still available for them to play anyway, right? So you should be able to just, like, say after a certain date, if you don't do it, it automatically does it. But I don't think there should be in a position where they're telling certain people that your content is just lost forever. And it's really annoying. We could probably we'll be done with this after I say this one last thing. Where is all these people who call themselves being regulators and we got to stop acquisitions about every little thing? This is where the people really should step in. For all these other people, the politicians and stuff, if you really cared about gaming, you should step in right here. This is where you step in. Cause this to me is a unfair business practice in a way. Like I don't think that they should just like cut things off where at most like somebody really is going to be left behind. It's like you should almost treat it like you're trying to vote basically for the next election or something. Like you got to make sure everybody's happy, and you don't leave nobody behind. I made it political, didn't I? But yeah, like I just feel like they shouldn't do that. And they kind of lost me as a potential customer. That makes me not even want to get it anymore. Even though I was like, I think it's like a lot of stuff I was saying before, all the extra stuff that you can do with it and stuff. I kind of just want to like just fall back for a little while. I don't know if I want to make that kind of purchase, because I could tell you definitely I will pick it up, play it, and put it down. And not even know. I would have been so out of the loop. Like, let's really think about this though. Okay, they gave you 2 years from when they made the purchase, right? That was from when they made the purchase. Let's say I made the purchase, right? When they came out with the MetaQuest 3. That wasn't that long ago. I made the purchase. I bought a bunch of $40 games. I say I bought like 4 of them. And then I put it down because of X, Y, and Z I got going on right now that we had just got done talking about. And I don't got time to pick it back up until April. That's an average day for me. That's an average kind of thing for me where I can put gaming down for a week or two and then pick it back up. And then I'm being told immediately I just lost everything.
Yep.
Absolutely not. That's not happening. So yeah, I'm pulling the plug on that for a while. Or I might go with somebody else's headset. I don't know. But yeah, that was just something. I don't know. This podcast is all over the place. But I guess that was something I did want to talk about. But I turned it into a thing last minute. It is a thing. But anything you want to add to that? Do you think I'm valid on that? Let's say maybe I shouldn't.
I hate the idea of just you buy something and then they tell you don't own it. That irks me to my core.
Yeah.
Like for example, like the quick example that I can always think of, there was a beat 'em up side scroller Power Ranger game.
Mm-hmm.
Bang got delisted like years ago, PlayStation 4, and it was like
Super
out
Legends.
for about, that or something like that, and it got delisted. I could still download it and play it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it. It got delisted, but it's still in my library. Like Mega Battle. That's what I think. And at any point,
I think I know what you're
I
talking
can
about,
download, and no one else can get it, right? Because it's delisted, it's gone. But at any point, I can download and play it because I bought it.
Here's
that
the thing.
Should be for everything.
Here's the thing, though. One day you get up, they tell you go to log in, it says your password is incorrect, and you're like, I know that's my password. I've never changed it. You click it, it says it's incorrect. And then they tell you, okay, well, now you're like, I got to call them. I got to call PlayStation, if that's where you got it. PlayStation and their customer service and all of that. And they're like, oh, you got to go through some sort of verification. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't verify you because of X, Y, Z reason or something. You just have to make a new account.
No. Like, and that's why I would fight, because it's like, you know how many things were bought under?
Yeah.
Like, or I lose that, like, all those years of having PlayStation Plus, right? So all of those monthly games just gone.
Yeah.
My whole account gone. Anything I bought, gone. That's why I don't like digital purchasing like that. But I hate it even more when they just say it's gone because of nothing you did. Right? Like, even where it's like the whole, when they were saying we're going to remove the reality shows that you may have bought because we don't have a contract. It's like, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
I bought it. Like, So all of that type of stuff just lets me know it's like digital is not the way to go, and it's like everything keeps proving digital is not the way to go. I can rant about AI stuff was always not the way to go, and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's just where we keep inching towards. And it's like, why do y'all not see the problem?
Right.
Like, you just look at it's a problem, and like everyone ignores it.
Because I know for a fact there are moments where I can't get into the PlayStation account from my phone, or if I tried to make the purchase of a game while I'm on the account on my phone, it's acting like it's normal. But when I tried to make a purchase or something, it like wants to get you to log out or log back in
Yep.
or something. Like it does little things like that. But I'm just like, I don't like that because it makes me feel like it might not let me back in.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, there's still a nice hefty digital library there to go with your physical library. And the idea of somebody trying to tell me all of a sudden I just don't got access, some rando on the phone, they're following their call.
Yeah, they don't even know what they're doing. They're just following
Yeah,
the
they're
whole
just following their job kind of thing. And it's like, homie, you trying to tell me I lost everything? No. No. I don't know what was going to happen with the MetaQuest thing. Probably, if maybe somebody might tell you, well, like if you get the MetaQuest 3 right now, it would have came starting you off that way, so that wouldn't have happened to you. This is for the original people. Maybe that would have been the case. I'm just saying, like, I just know that wouldn't have flew with me. That wouldn't, especially with everything else on top of that, with Meta and all of them. That really wouldn't have flew with me. I don't know what I would have done, but they would have been hearing from me for a while. Like, oh wow. Even if the game ain't that good, probably just some busted little AA games or something. Like, I don't care. It would have been disaster. Y'all would have been blocking my numbers. But yeah, that's all I got. We kind of still went the whole time, and that's probably on me. But that's all right. Thank you so much for everybody listening. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you want to, tell a friend or two. Even though I got hectic stuff going on throughout the week, I still managed to get some content out. But better is coming, especially this summer, because the PC I wanted was sold out. Somebody gonna give me a PC. We gonna figure it out. Somebody gonna have to give it to me. It ain't gotta be perfect, but the content on the inside, I mean, it didn't really matter anyway. It's just somebody gonna give me one. When they do, the content is gonna be so much better, so much quicker. Because sometimes this rendering time is like crazy on this old beat up laptop. But yeah, that's all I got for you here. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. I will catch you next week. Peace.